Mine doesn't either, but that won't help you.
It's May 24th, 2004, and Janet Nunes is rushed into the hospital while gasping for air. She was born with cystic fibrosis, a disease that affects the lungs and causes them to constantly fill up with liquid that becomes difficult to drain. Doctors are rushing around her left and right as they place an artificial breathing mask around her mouth to hopefully get oxygen to her brain. Time continues to rush by, and still little to no oxygen is being pumped through her body from her failing lungs. She is fighting for her life. Suddenly, the doctor bursts through the door, shouting the news that a lung donor has just been found. The family begins to cry in relief, as this is something they've been waiting for years. Janet Nunes will live because science and medicine has evolved greatly, making it possible for her to receive an organ donation that will change her life. It hasn't always been this way, however. Before the practice of organ donating was invented, millions of people died each year due to failing or infected organs. This caused for much tragedy. However, after speaking to many medical professionals, I have discovered that doctors have created a solution that would save many lives around the world. Today, doctors have come close to perfecting their craft of transplantation and even continue to evolve each day. I want to talk about this amazing process and the history of organ transplantation and how through this we can become even better to save more lives. Transplantations have been going on for years throughout history, and it all started with the first bone transplant. The first transplant ever recorded was a transplant done in the Middle Ages. Doctors had an incredible idea to transfer a very strong bone in order to replace a decaying or weakened bone. This sparked interest in many people but was fully experimental. This historic surgery that was done in the pelvic bone, and because there was no other volunteers to have their bones taken out, doctors used an animal's bone. However, this did not go over well, and the bone was sorely rejected, and the doctors were forced to remove it because of cause of infection. After this poor operation, doctors began looking for ways to better store these bones so that they could last longer and be used for more people. They created a small shed that was cool to house small pieces of bone from animals. However, because the shed was not that cool, the bones were still decaying very quickly, and it was not very effective. It was very difficult to find donations. Although bone transplants were not being very successful, scientists conducted the first ever skin transplant that became a huge success. The first transplant happened in Denmark in 1870. This changed the whole transplantation process and made history. The way the skin was stored also became a lot easier as science evolved. Scientists created certain chemicals that were able to store the skin to preserve it longer. They were also able to now harvest fresh pieces of skin to use in the transplantation process, which made it more effective. Skin grafts and transplants broke many other scientific advances and proved that transplantations can be done, and inspired scientists to move forward and continue studying the process. After studying and furthering in the science, organs were now able to be donated, paving the way for a new wave of medicine and new way of life for thousands. This became a breakthrough for scientists, and years later, organs were now being able to be transplanted. The first one was the kidney, which happened in 1959, when the liver and the heart in 1967, and finally the pancreas in 1968, showing that the process had exploded. Then the computer-assisted organ matching system was created called UNOS. This allowed for many more donors to be found from all over the world, opening up the donation process and allowing for many more people to receive organs. This also made the process much faster, making it more effective, and enabled different kinds of organs to also be donated. Cytosporin is introduced in the transplantation process. It is an immunosuppressive drug designed to help prevent rejection of new organs in the body. making the large flow of organs coming in able to be stored for a longer period of time. Donors were now able to fly organs from around the world, helping thousands of people. Organ transplantation made huge strides in only a short amount of time, creating a culture of transplants for those in need. Today, science has evolved immensely, making transplantation very accessible to people all over the world. Something called organ boxes were created, and they were able to store organs for a full 24 hours. This opened up the access of many people to receive organs before they would decay. The government has created a way to harvest more organs through the use of requests. These require doctors to ask for organs of the deceased. Citizens can now be registered as organ donors, making it easier to locate organs that can now be used. This has sped up the process of locating organs for donation. Organ matches and transplantation surgery has become very successful, and many fatalities have been reduced. Fatalities are now at a very low rate, almost cut in half, according to sources. This made it possible for many to trust the process. Today, thousands of people receive transplants for almost anything, changing their lives and those around them. Transplantation still holds its risks, but this highly outweighs the rewards that comes from giving the gift of life. Christina, who is a cornea recipient from South Dakota, thanked her organ donors by stating, "The giving of oneself is just the ultimate way of saying thank you for being created." Before, millions had died from deadly illnesses and diseases of the body, but today, more people are given the gift of life through the incredible invention of organ donations.